The time has come to make a sound to summon the stream. Greetings, dear viewers. I'm Quill Quitcard, and welcome back to the Community RPG Maker Project. Over the last 2 weeks, I reviewed all of the stuff in the game that we have already put in so far. I selected all kinds of suggestions from people, made tons of notes for bug fixes, and I also went and made all of my basic bug fixes. So, what is on the agenda for today? Goals for today. Create the backbone of the modular bestiary system, because we are, in fact, going to be adding a bestiary to the game. Next thing, we want to finally build the watch post, a small location outside of town. For future story progression and to sort of tie together events through major events in the game, I'm going to be adding that you find an ominous Coca-Cola after you defeat the Red Dragon boss. Let's see, what else? Yeah, bestiary book, we're getting that done. Okay. That should be the main things to do today off of this list. And also, we are going to brainstorm general designs for the Necropolis section, since it's going to be kind of like a general hub world with a lot of stuff branching off of it. So brainstorm general designs for the Necropolis section, along with enemies, treasures, shops, etc. So there are our goals for today. And the first one I'm going to do is actually get that watchtower built, because I have put that off for quite literally months at this point. Then we're going to do the ominous Coca-Cola. Then we will work on creating the preliminary form of the bestiary system. And finally we'll work on the Necropolis. Alright, so, specifically what I want to build is this right here. So, a watchtower. Can we find a pre-existing map that can give me a little bit of inspiration about how to proceed? I've never tried to quite create just like a watchtower like that. No. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I could just do just like a straight up vertical tower. That would be easy enough to do. But I really was hoping for something that's going to be a little more like watchtowery, as opposed to just like a solid building. Just looking for some basic ideas. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Ooh. Ooh. That one's a bit big for my taste. But I do like the general gist. I can definitely make something that is like that. Similar designs are being used there. Okay. That gives me enough ideas to start with. And we're just gonna have this off of the Wallachia. Nah, we'll actually do like a proper watchtower. Okay. So, watchtower outside. Don't need any specific sounds. We should have a musical track, though. Let's see. That's fun. Okay. So we do need a good bit of height on this. We don't need it to be particularly wide. Alright. So, how do I want to go about doing this? Is there any way that I could use these to get more verticality? Because I was thinking, I'm really kind of thinking something on like stilt-legged building. But there really isn't anything in the default tile sets that I think would be particularly useful for stilt-leg building. Unless I could find something that fits well along the bottom of that. What about... Is this viable? Like, I know it's clearly fence posts. But... could I stack something on top of it, kind of like that? It's closer to the effect that I want, but it's not quite there. No, I really don't think it's going to be possible to build it exactly the way I kind of hoped I would. That's all right. I can still make something good. All right. We'll just have it look like that. And then we'll have a larger portion that looks like that. Okay. So we can have it on a little bit of stilting. I think that is sufficient. So then, up on this upper level... Okay. Have it look like that. Okay. Okay. A little bit taller. So now I need to give the impression of verticality. So my idea is that you would walk in here. Okay. Okay. And then if we go up a layer and we add some fence posts. And then we put some stairs here. And then what we really need is some windows. But they don't quite look right. I may need to make this whole thing a block wider. Okay. There we go. Okay, that looks good for that. I think the logs work best. Okay. Okay, this works. This is good enough for what I am trying to design. There we go. And then this'll be, like, the entrance. And the design clearly implies that you would come in here, go out here, go in here, and then you would look out the top. Whoops. Okay. I like that. I think this is an effective look for the exterior of the watchtower. So now what I need is this. Oh! Oh, that actually looks really good. That actually looks really, really good. Oh, that's actually beautiful. Okay. So for the time being, we are not going to actually have an interior that you can go into. But we will put some doors down for flavor. Okay. And then going down to the bottom layer, we can have a simple cobblestone path. Okay. There we go. Just spread around some patches of grass. Just like that. Especially around the corners. There we go. Okay. And now we put down some basic just some basic fencing around the rest of it. Okay. There we go. I mean, Articus, you're welcome to say whatever you want, really. Okay. That's fine. Whoops. So down here on layer 2, we will take out the rest of that. And then up on layer 4, we'll put out... There we go. Those. That works. And I had the wrong roof here. So, the overall effect is this. Which I do think looks very good. Okay. I think that's pretty good for a watchtower. Yeah. I think that's great. Okay. So now let's put down a tent. Just right here. And another tent here. Fire pit. Is there like just a simple well? I suppose that works well enough. We can put a bucket there. Put down some posts, like they could be used for defense. A log to sit on. A couple rocks. A few weeds. A few trees. Okay. Bits of overgrown grass. Just dotted around. A number of tree stumps as well. Since clearly, like, you know, a lot of wood went into the construction here. So we can represent that pretty effectively. We can put a pile of wood here. Couple barrels of stuff. Some more grass. That should be fine. In the dead spots, just spread a little bit of clutter. Okay. I think that works, honestly. Abnormally and Lobotomy Corporation came from the well of humanity and so forth, and they are manifestation of our own meaning, desire, despair, belief in our fear, and some are fairy tales or other stories. Okay. Yeah! I think this is perfect. So you leave and you go here. And then here in the overworld, we need a way to access the watchtower. So I finally have a watchtower. Excellent. Now we will just set a few guards around. Okay. One guard here that you actually can talk to. I cannot allow civilians to enter. Okay, that's fine. And where's one of my special NPCs? Yes, okay, here's an officer. So the officer NPC is going to say, we've been keeping watch for undead, so we can send early warning to Wallachia. They mostly come from the south. Maybe the old temple out in the jungle? For example, FO-169, known as Der Feuerschütz, the free shooter that became the devil after shooting the seventh bullet hitting himself. Okay. Honestly, it all just sounds like not quite as good SCP. Although most SCPs tend to avoid such direct literary representations. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Oh. Okay, okay. Alright, it works. But it's extremely static. We need to add some movement. So every once in a while, we'll say every 5 seconds, you're going to move down, turn right, turn on your stepping animations. You'll wait a while, and then you'll turn your stepping animation up, you'll move up, you'll turn left. You'll wait a couple seconds, you'll turn down, and then reset. And that still doesn't allow anyone to actually bypass you, which is good. You just move a bit slowly. That should be fine. Okay. So, what would be 8 times 60? It would be minus 120, so 880 frames for 8 seconds. Or, no, it's 600 minus 120, which puts it at 480. Move left. Wait, 480. 450 is fine. They don't need to be exact. And then move right, turn down, and then repeat. Okay. So that gives a little bit of movement. We can also just have a couple splotches of water lying around. That will provide some interest in the visual field. Okay. I think that works. So it should feel more dynamic now. Good. Okay, okay. Yes, it definitely feels more dynamic. Is there some kind of object that I could put here? Something that would have something non-person related, which would... Ooh. A brazier? That could... Ooh, no, a lantern. Oh, that would be perfect. Okay, okay. Oh my god, why have I not been using these? Okay. Yeah, we'll hang a lantern there. Oh my god. I should be putting lanterns all over Wallachia. Okay, that looks pretty good. If we lower the frequency by a step, is it better? Okay. What if we lower it even more? No, it's still pulsing at the same rate. Do I need to adjust the speed and not the frequency when I'm dealing with stepping animations? That's the real question. I think the slower is better. Let's try once more. Okay, that is absolutely it. Okay. And now that I have that, let's actually put a bunch of them around Wallachia. So, outside of doors. Okay. And then, of course, anything like that that I put down, I also need to replicate for the invasion event. Honestly, it's probably just easier to make them for the invasion event. Sure. Okay. So there, and there, there and there, there and there. Okay. So there and there. Right side, left side, there, and there. And over and over. Okay, over. Okay. I think that looks great. Okay. And then main Wallachia. We can just throw a few of those around. Okay. And then these will be the last two we need for the invasion event. Alright, let's take a look. Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, I really like that. Okay. Alright, Wallachia's got, like, a lot more light to it now. That does not work. Okay. We'll move those up away from the door. And the code of the anomaly alpha has meaning 0 is original, T is for trauma, F is for terryfells, D is for donors, M is for myths. Also, there is lamppost. Okay. Alright, that works. Are the lamps looking better on this side of town? Yeah, they look alright. Okay. I am satisfied with the lamps that have been added to Wallachia. Let's take a look at the watchtower. Okay. This... Watching, keeping watch... This is good. I love this. This is fantastic. Sorry, but I cannot allow civilians to enter the watchtower. Okay. That's pretty good. What I could add here is one of the suggestions for an item. Let's see. I can probably just do the frog helm. That should be fine. Okay. So this is going to be the frog helm. And we'll have it be pretty expensive. And it gives a big boost to speed and luck. That should be fine. A strange helmet shaped like the head of a frog. Significantly increases speed and luck. Because I'm pretty sure that's the term I'm using, is speed. Yes. Significantly increases speed and luck. Okay, that works. So now we need a treasure chest. Just to reward anyone who comes here. And that adds the frog helm to their inventory. You found a frog helm. Good. Now, what should it look like? Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Yeah, honestly, that's fine. Okay. That works. Okay. So you can go to the watchtower, and if you can get a little treasure. Specifically the frog helm. Which is not as good as the steel stuff. It's even worse. Yeah, it's even worse than the composite helmets. Okay, it definitely needs to be at least on par with steel gear. Where is the steel gear? The steel mail cap is 15. You know what? Let's buff up the defense a little bit higher. We'll make that like a real good piece of gear, if anyone goes there. And so that is the frog helm done. We have completed our first task for today, which was finally building the watch post. Next, find ominous Coca-Cola after you defeat the red dragon. So we need to add a key item. There we go. Doesn't need to be anything special. Ominous soda bottle. And which one works best for the bottle? I like this one with the skull on it. That's actually really funny. Okay. Ominous soda bottle. A strange empty red bottle that exudes an evil aura. The label reads Coca-Cola. Okay, I like that. So we need the first bottle of Coca-Cola to be found after the dragon fight. Okay, so we have the dragon fight. Okay. And Malter will say, wait! Something else there. Okay. So Ryu will get a question mark. And then okay, move those there. Turn up. Heart. Wait, there's something else there. At this point, Ryu turns down again. Question mark, exclamation mark. And then a bit of narrative text. In the snow, among the dragon's remains, is a strange looking bottle. Okay. You pick it up, and that is when you get the ominous soda bottle. You found an ominous soda bottle. Okay. And then Malter will say, what the heck? I've never seen a bottle like this one before. We'll actually have him comment this. Yeah, we'll do it in that order. The heck? I've never seen a bottle like this one before. You found an ominous soda bottle. You get an ominous soda bottle. We'll actually have Thatcher make a statement here. Something feels wrong about it. Like it shouldn't be here. And Malta would be like, I feel it too. This thing... I think... you feel it too? Then we can have the player do something. Okay. I'm going to study this more closely. No, not something that implies like an immediate follow-up. I should probably take it to Pepsi headquarters when I can. Okay, that's good enough. So we get the ominous soda bottle. So the Red Dragon was responsible for the blizzard that was the main source of all the bad stuff that was happening in the tundra. And then when we finally get around to beating the false Hydra, we're going to get another ominous soda bottle, implying that the ominous soda bottle was behind everything that's been going on in Wallachia. And so this is going to be used as the story hook to get into, like, you know, the whole, like, Coke is evil and has to be stopped subplot. So now I have a system in place to advance that part of the story. Okay. I think that works. Yes. Okay. So the next objective for today is going to be creating the backbone for the modular bestiary system. Since, due to player suggestions, I am now going to have a bestiary in this game. Okay, so probably one of the first things we're going to need is Tome of Enemies. A magical book that records information about the enemies you defeat in battle. Okay. Good. Tome of Enemies. So that is definitely something that you could get at the information center. So now we are going to need the bestiary. I don't think I have anything else in the game right now that is making use of the hidden item inventories. But I do want to make sure sure of that before I go. So let's make sure we don't have anything sitting in the hidden item inventories. Okay, that's hidden item A. That's hidden item B. Got it. Okay. Perfect. So we are going to select an item from hidden item A. And we're going to set that variable to 39, which is going to be bestiary check. Alright. And then we have the conditionals, which is if the bestiary check is equal to, say, 1, then it will give, well, okay, so it was suggested that maybe you can get partial information about an enemy if you've encountered it but haven't beaten it. Which I can do, but how often am I really going to have the players encountering something but not defeating it? That's the real question, and I really don't think that's something that's going to be happening a lot. Oh, holy crap, I already added the items. Oh my god, I'm so smart. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, perfect. I forgot I did that earlier this week. Oh, that's so convenient. Okay. So when you use the Tome of Enemies, it will run the common event Bestiary. So if the Bestiary check is equal to 401, then it will have a scrolling text. So it'll be Feral Forest Feline. Because item 1 is the Feral Forest Feline. So 180 HP. 180 HP. Name, Ferris Forest Feline. Location, Galarf Forest. HP, 180. Drops. So the first drop of the Feral Forest Feline is a bottle of Pepsi, which is 1 in 20. Bottle of Pepsi, 1 in 20. The loincloth, 1 in 100. Okay. There's not really any other, like, meaningful notes about the Feral Forest Feline. I mean, how detailed do I want to get with the bestiary? That's the question. So we can have notes, of which we don't have any, and then lore. The cat people are aggressive, primitive humanoids who can be found in all sorts of environments around the world where they live in small communities and have a tendency to attack those who enter their territory. That sort of works. It fixed itself. I was shadow banned for a sec. Oh, Aubrey, what did you do to get yourself shadow banned? You shouldn't be doing that. And it was definitely something you did. It's definitely not just YouTube being weird. Why would YouTube ever be weird? The feline community of Glarf Forest. The feline community of Glarf Forest. Okay. The feline community of Glarf Forest are among the weaker of their kind, as the peaceful locale gives them little opportunity to hone their combat skills. Okay. Alright. So now let's test the bestiary system. Okay. Alright, so now I've got the Tome of Enemies. Right, because I don't actually have the item. Okay. We'll just drop a random carriage here, which also gives you the Feral Forest feline item. Alright, let's try the game. Okay. There we go. So when you open up the bestiary, when you open up the Tome of Enemies, it will give you a list for every enemy that you have beaten, and they will all be labeled by number, so you can know if you have missed an entry. Ooh. Okay, I don't know if I like having it work like that. I didn't know that this was how it does scrolling text. Because in some areas, it's just going to be impossible to read. Okay. Can we just go with a black mask? Idea. You can make them calm down using catnip. That's doable. Okay, loop. Okay. So this will have it so that it will constantly go back into this. So if the where was it? Which one am I using here? Wait, which variable is it? Bestiary check is 39. Okay. Oh, I wasn't on variable. Okay, if bestiary check is equal to 0, meaning that you haven't selected anything, then we break the loop. So the first thing it does when it runs this is set the bestiary check to 0. So if you just back out of this, it should break the loop. Will it show scrolling text with a faded out screen? That's the question. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, now this should go back to the selection, which it did. And if I exit... Yes! That is a freaking lore book. That is so good. Okay. Okay. That is good. So we will set it to a slow speed because you can make it run faster. Huh. I might be able to have it also show off the enemy. I don't particularly need lore right now. Mostly I'm just seeing if I can oh, crap. No, it won't work just to show the enemy. Because I have all the enemies tilted. I could... Okay. Okay. There is a way I can do this. What I'm going to need is GIMP here. So this is something that would be a hell of a process to do for everything, but it is doable. And once I have the basics of it set up, it would not be difficult to do. So let's go with the pinkest pink I can find and just bucket this entire selection. All right, fine. You can have an alpha channel. There. Why are you transparent? There, okay. That is not the right color. Oh, God. I mean, whatever. As long as it is effective, it should do the job. Okay. And then we need a Battlebex 2. Just close that. I do actually have a plan. Like all of this is actually going somewhere. That is literally a different color. Okay. Whatever. That's fine. Okay. So what I can do is just set up a blank battleback, put the enemy on the blank battleback, take a screenshot, paste it, crop it down, and go ahead and select it, adjust the invis, adjust the whole thing to crop to the content, and then export this into the pictures file as 001 feral forest feline. Doing this for every single enemy would be tedious, certainly. But it would also let me have a picture. Origin, center. Let's... I don't know, 500? I don't really know where you're going to display the pictures. Let's take a look. Okay. So it did not display a picture. Let's make sure we can get any kind of display at all. No. Okay. All right. That's kind of a problem. Okay, how many enemies are there? At current, there are 38 unique enemy types. But obviously that's going to end up increasing. Okay, so with a screen fade out, it will not display a picture, I assume. So unfortunately, my idea of having text over white, or just over a black screen, is probably not compatible with displaying the actual enemy. Okay. Oh my god, of course! Of course, I know how to fix this! Oh my god, it's so simple. Do Deedly dop bop beedly doo. Deep bop boop 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 ba. Where is it? 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 What's the size of my black mask? Hold on. I know you're listed here somewhere. Okay, 816 by 624. Here is what I do. 816 by 624. 816 by 624. Dude, Gimp, you were just open. Oh, holy crap. Okay. Apparently I have two different versions of GIMP involved because this interface is very new. In canvas size, 816 by... What was it? 816 by 624. Resize. Okay. So the obvious way to solve this is simply dude, come on. Layer size. You need to... Yes. Layer them there. Good. Now select all the transparency. And just save it like that. Okay. Yes, I know you... Yes, I want you to make the change. What the hell do you think I'm doing? Okay. We just create a static image that covers the whole screen that is the size of the screen. And that way we still get to have white text on black screen, but we're also getting to display our things, and we're not going to have to worry about positioning them. Alright, how is that for the bestiary? Look at that. We list their name, we list their location, we list their HP, we list their drops. We provide any notes on special abilities or weaknesses that are important to know. We provide some lore. We can speed up. And we actually get to show the enemy. Okay. That is a functional bestiary system. All I'm going to have to do now is basically... Whoop. There we go. Is copy this event for every single enemy that I ever have. So that's going to be a whole thing. Yes, Pain. Now do that 37 times. Have you folks seen the sort of things I have built this game? Doing something 37 times is like a day off compared to the sort of things I have built. Like, let's not forget that I built this minigame, which has 69 events in it. A few dozen of which are running simultaneously at any given time, and all of which are running multiple conditional checks and switch checks constantly. Compared to the stuff I do in this game, 37 more repetitions of copy-paste and a little stuff is going to be... It's actually not a lag fest. That's the crazy thing about Spire Flight, is that it actually works. Okay. So now... now comes the slightly annoying part. Because what I have to do is add a condition that when an enemy's HP reaches 0, you gain the item for that type of enemy. And unfortunately, these are going to have to be copy-pasted absolutely everywhere. There is no way around it. So when I get to an encounter like, say, what's a really good example? So when I have an event that's got like 6 zombies in it, or 6 bats, I'm going to have a death trigger for every single bat. So that's going to get a little tedious, but again, it's all just basic copy pasting and then like one switch in a drop down menu. The point is that it will function. That will work. So I've got a working bestiary with enemy display. And that's something I will have to reintegrate every time I design new monsters and new troops. Which is going to be a little bit annoying. But it's fine. It's realistically... It's less than 3 minutes of work per enemy that I introduce. So it's all going to be fine. And now that I'm just going to be using a black screen with the enemy put on it for displaying them in the bestiary, it's going to be incredibly easy just to create a template of that. It's not going to be any trouble to manage that at all. So next things, important things. We need to give the players the enemy tome. Best of luck to you. Okay. So then the player's going to move down. So after we get the information center, the player will try to leave, and the helper is going to be like, wait, if you are going adventuring, you should take this with you. And player turns up and then has a question mark, and then the player moves up, and the guy will say, "This is an enchanted book." It automatically records information about the enemies that you defeat. You can have it. Okay. And we will have it say, the man gave you the Tome of Enemies. You can check it anytime in the... Do I call it key items or do I call it special? What's the term I'm using? Key items. Key items. Okay, it is called special. You can check it anytime in the special tab of your inventory. Okay. He gives you the tome of enemies, and then we have to make sure he actually gives you the tome of enemies. Alright. And then Atur will be like, thank you very much. And Ryu will have just a music note expression. There we go. Okay. The Tome of Enemies is now given to the player early on. That's good. I am genuinely curious. I don't think there would be any kind of trouble, even over the very long term, if it just kept adding an item every time you beat an enemy. I mean, it's going to cap out at 99 anyway. But I wonder if, just for the sake of future-proofing, it is worth adding a conditional, just in case. If the party has the Feral Forest Feline, do nothing. Otherwise, give them it. This feels a little better to me. I don't think it's going to make absolutely any difference whatsoever in the actual game performance. But I just feel better about doing it this way. Okay, that'll be fine. That's a nice modular system. All right. So create the backbone of the modular bestiary system. The ocean tunnel, Wallachia. Okay. So we are going to need to do some other lore books, specifically for other stuff in Wallachia. But we can get to that eventually. The next thing I want to do, I want to brainstorm general ideas for the Necropolis section of the game. So this is where I really want to start taking in people's ideas. So, just to reiterate where we are at. This is the city of Wallachia. It has been being attacked by a creature called a false hydra. When the false hydra kills a person, every living person loses their memories of that person. It has been attacking this town for a long time. It's already taken out many hundreds of people. A lot of information, a lot of awareness has been lost in the city. And we are now going to start by going down a hole underneath a gravestone. And we're going to start exploring a necropolis, a big necropolis that spans underneath Wallachia and underneath this part of the world in general. Now, this is going to be a very large area, and it's going to have multiple paths that connect it back to the surface. This whole area is basically going to serve as a hub for multiple connected dungeons. There's going to be like a hidden way in from the basement of the temple. There's going to be a way in that leads to a hidden entrance here, like in the city storehouse. There's eventually going to be a way which connects back to the tunnel terminus, stuff like that. There's going to be a lot of interconnectivity. So, it is now time for brainstorming. So we have the city of Wallachia, and we know that the first thing that's going to happen is that we go down the grave somewhere. So what sorts of places should we have in this necropolis? And let's keep in mind this is underground, it's connected to sections like religious centers, because necromancy is kind of like a religious rite in this culture, or was before they forgot about it. So there's going to be religious centers. There's going to be like places for trade. There's going to be places for labor, because they use a lot of undead for labor purposes, for things like mining. Okay. A graveyard with gardens. Okay. I like that. So one of the areas is going to be the graveyard gardens. That's going to be an area. We don't know exactly how or where it's going to connect yet, but that's definitely going to be one of them. We are going to have a Temple of Death and Darkness. That's going to be something. Obviously, somewhere down here, we are going to have the encounter with the False Hydra itself. Other things. I want an encounter where Helena goes up against she either encounters something that was her sister, or goes up against something that's like aware of or using stuff that belonged to her sister. So Elena, sister encounter. I also want to have like something down here with shops. Maybe the false dragon could be in a dragon skeleton as a suit of armor. Right. I also want a lich dragon to be down here as well. So we take the gravestones. Let's think about this. What would this entrance into the necropolis be for? Like, if you are someone who lived in Wallachia at its height, if you are someone who, where all this stuff with necromancy, the necropolis, it's not a secret. It's not something we put on every tourist poster, but it's something that is known to the people of this city. So it's not like it would be particularly hiding. So why would there be a hidden entrance connected to a gravestone? My initial thought is that it would be like an escape tunnel. Some way for someone important down in the necropolis to get out of the necropolis. Other possibilities include maintenance shaft, access, supply. Let's think. What would it connect to? Whatever it connects to is going to be on the higher levels of the necropolis. So these are going to be the areas closest to the surface. The areas closest to the surface are going to be the oldest. If they were dug first. Or they could be the newest. Flesh Dungeon! Oh my god, Flesh Dungeon! You're right, this is the perfect place for Zombie Flesh Dungeon. Okay, so there's definitely gonna be a Zombie Flesh Dungeon. Or, yeah, Zombie Flesh Dungeon is definitely going to happen here. So you're going down the grave. This will lead to, like, a tunnel. But why this? My initial thought is that it should probably... Whoops. Connect... Dude, what the crap? Don't do that. Oh, I drew a box. No, I didn't want to draw a box. I wanted to select an area. Thank you. Okay, so the Wallachia... First, it connects to the Temple of Death and Darkness. So, where does the temple connect to? Graveyard Gardens seems like a pretty reasonable place for the temple itself to connect to. Something that's got, like, kind of a peaceful aesthetic to it. So, the gardens... So we go to the temple. The temple leads into the Graveyard Gardens. And this can be like a very large underground cemetery. A cemetery and a garden all together. So what should happen? The temple's going to be like a single... A school. Oh, you're right. A seminary. The priests have to learn somehow. Excellent thinking. Okay, so we're going to have a seminary, which is also connected to the temple. That is an absolutely wonderful idea. So the seminary should be somewhere we get to through the Graveyard Gardens. Well, the zombie flesh dungeon is basically going to be... It's basically just going to be a gore pit. It's where... You know, basically unusable material is disposed of. And it just so happens that over time, enough of the material has sort of coagulated that it's kind of like a living area. But that's probably not going to be something that's going to be directly connected to, like, your center of religious worship. The temple... If we use the Graveyard Gardens as one of the central hubs for the area, then we would also need like a barracks. So barracks of the undead, since, you know, they used undead for soldiers as well. No, we are not calling the cemetery Hope's Peak Academy. Not everything needs to be or should be a reference. The barracks is then going to connect back to Wallachia, which will make sense. So there's going to be some kind of obstacle that has to be cleared at the barracks in order to get back to a second entrance in Wallachia. Okay. The Barracks of the Undead, however, could be connected to the zombie flesh dungeon. Since they're probably going to have to dispose of various stuff. Flesh dungeon, once a place that usable flesh was stored, but it combined into a living organism. Okay. This works. So the seminary is going to be connected to like a living area, a place where the actual living can be. And then the graveyard gardens will also connect to that. But for the time being, they are kind of blocked off. Which we can just represent with a little star here. That's fine. Alright. The star is going to represent obstacles that have to be cleared. So, Wallachia, we go down, we access the Temple of Death and Darkness. The Temple of Death and Darkness connects directly to the Graveyard Gardens, which connects to a seminary, which connects to a living area, which opens back up to the Graveyard Gardens. So the living area should presumptively connect somewhere else as well. We're definitely going to want, like, a storage area. Aubrey, we don't really need that as a reference. I'm not familiar with it, and so I'm not particularly motivated to integrate it. The barracks can be connected to an armory. And then the armory can be connected to a manufactorum where they produce materials that are used by sort of the zombie soldiers. Ooh, a library, though. You're absolutely right. Thatcher needs to start learning some necromancy. Okay. So we have a library, which is going to be connected to the seminary. Okay. And then that is also going to be connected to the Graveyard Gardens. And then the Manufactorum is going to be connected to the Undead Mines. And then the Undead Mines connect to the Zombie Flesh Dungeon. So the barracks connect to the Armory connects to the Manufactorum, the Manufactorum connects to the Mines connect to the Zombie Flesh Dungeon. Boss idea. The heart of the fish that has become the island was infected by a zombie virus that allowed it to come back to 9. I don't quite... Hold on. I don't think the locations are going to quite line up for that to make a great deal of sense, unfortunately. But I can probably do something with that. The Zombie Flesh Dungeon would be a good place to put the Lich Dragon. So I do like that. And then that's going to output into an area called the Grim Furnace, basically where they just get rid of all the unwanted material, which can then connect back to the Graveyard Gardens. And there'll be like an obstacle there. It's not about a lack of space, it's about a matter of biology. Like, we are here questing right now. We're basically on this island. If this whole continent is a living organism, we are on an extremity of that organism. It simply doesn't make sense that there would be like a major vital organ here in the extremity of the organism. That's the only reason I say it doesn't quite work. But it does inspire some other thoughts in me. So we do have a number of obstacles. It was once a living organism. You confirm the lore that it was a corpse. Yeah. I need... Okay. The armory can connect to a gallery for, like, special treasures and whatnot. And then the temple can also lead to the gallery. And the armory can connect to the gallery. And then the path from the temple to the gallery would be blocked. This game gives me my brain at 3 a.m. vibes when I'm in too many fandoms, and I love it. Art studio with flesh sculptures and blood paintings. There's not too much I can do with that within the limitations of default assets, but we can integrate that into the gallery. The gallery can basically be like a centralized treasury. We're also going to put another obstacle here. So, what can also lead back to Wallachia? So, we're in Wallachia, we go down the grave, we go to the Temple of Death and Darkness. That connects us to the Graveyard Gardens. From here, we can explore the Barracks of the Undead, but we can't go to the other locations from there. But we can get to the Seminary, which connects to the living area and the library. Both ways, we can get shortcuts back into the Graveyard Gardens. So something in one or both of these areas lets us access the armory. Idea, a silent spell needed to let the others know what's going on. In what way? How does this silent spell do that? I think the gallery is a good place to have the Elena sister encounter, whatever form that ends up taking. But where is the false Hydra hiding? That's the real question. Okay. I think you go through all of this. You have to get through to the zombie flesh dungeon, fight the Lich Dragon. In order to get to the Grim Furnace, in order to get something that lets you access the gallery. And then the thing in the gallery you get lets you access even older parts of the Necropolis. So, the old Necropolis. Okay, so we have a general concept of the path of progress that the players need to take for this first part of the Necropolis. So, 1. Access the Graveyard Gardens. 2. Access the Seminary. 3. We need to find the key to the armory in the living area. Why is 2 of the streamers I regularly watch is making a game? Because making games is fun. So from armory down to zombie flesh pit to fight the Lich Dragon. You find the gallery key in the Grim Furnace. Then go through the gallery to find the ancient key and have the Elena sister encounter. And then 7, enter the old Necropolis. Wouldn't they need more than one flesh pit for the Necropolis? I mean, at the end of the day, there's only so many people that die, and there's only so much physical material that they leave behind that isn't just going to be mostly gone in a couple decades anyway. You don't really need too big of a flesh pit for a moderate population. So the library, necromancy spells for Thatcher can be found here. The undead mines are going to have bottle cap or level 2. So we'll be able to start collecting that. The Manufactorum can have vending machine shops to access some better gear. Okay. So now I need to think about specifically what kind of obstacles. Experimental for texting new necromancer spells. It's not that I want this. I want to have a very particular take on the necromancy here. I'm not going for grim and evil. For this culture, the practice of a limited form of necromancy was a sacred act. It was a ritual act. It was something that was understood as being connecting to the forces of life and death in the world. It was not evil, it was not malevolent, it was not trying to be harmful or you know, being used to conquer or to harm. You could sort of think of it as one step up from, like, the study of medicine. Like, this is just a group of people who found that they could take medicine a step beyond through the use of magics which are able to reshape and manipulate flesh beyond just like the vital life force. And those magics form the central tenets of the necromancy practiced within this culture. So it's not like you're gonna walk in here and just start seeing corpses pinned to the wall, because corpses pinned to the walls are not aesthetically pleasing. They don't serve any practical function. They're not pleasant to look at. They're not pleasant to be around. Necromancy here is a practical and religious art, more than like a black magic sort of thing. Flesh pit that let you enter the fish's corpse, and you found a group of scientists that is examining the fish's biology. I think everything focusing on that takes this section of the game into a completely different tangent. I'm trying to keep everything here relatively focused. I mean, yeah, but this entire area, Aubrey, is being used for the study of and the practice of necromancy. And it's basically isolated from the surface because no matter how you go about this, corpses are not particularly pleasant for people to be around. There is a separation here, not because it's something that needs to be hidden or something that people won't approve of, but because it's simply not practical for the quality of life to have a bunch of corpses around. Surely we can do something with that. The flesh pit can definitely connect with this. The flesh pit works. It can be why the flesh pit was able to grow out from the furnace. So we can find the continental body expedition tunnels. So they realized, hey, the flesh here is doing stuff it really shouldn't be doing. We think something else alive, something else organic is interfering with it. They went out to explore it, and that's how they came to appreciate that the continent itself was actually an organism. An organism which presumptively has been dead for a long time, but simply because of the scale of it, parts of its anatomy continued to have their own persistent... What's the word I'm looking for? Habitats. God, what is the word I'm looking for? Their own persistent, ecosystems. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking that this thing is dead. But when a thing of this size dies, significant portions of its anatomy are able to self-sufficiently maintain their own unique organic ecosystems. So that is going to be what connected to and allowed the zombie flesh dungeons to grow out of the Grim Furnace, which is typically just being used for disposal and incineration. I think that works. I think that's able to integrate your idea, Suleiman, in a very effective way, and that should work to tie into kind of more of the body horror-ish vibe of this part of the dungeon. So, dirt of this world oddly tastes like fish and is eaten as a delicacy. I don't... I don't think that's something I'm going to use here, but I'm going to make a note of that for the future. There is an area where people eat dirt as a delicacy, and it retains flavor and nutrients of the great fish. The great fish continent. I think that is doable. Okay. I think this is good. Like, I think this is excellent for the current objectives of the project. We've got good ideas for the first sections of... We've got great ideas for the first section of the Necropolis. We've got multiple unique areas to go with their own unique vibes. It's going to be a lot of fun building all this sort of stuff. Let's actually switch gears just a little bit. I do want to end this stream in about 10 minutes, because I'm going to be streaming Mindustry at noon. So let's spend our last 10 minutes and let's think about items, enemies, puzzles. Let's think more about the specific things that we are going to find within the Necropolis, within the upper portions of the Necropolis. That's going to be our objective for the next 10 minutes. As far as treasures go that have been suggested before... an accessory for Thatcher that reduces her speed and maximum stamina. That can be something that's tied into necromancy. The unicorn helmet. We can integrate that. Reduces her speed and maximum stamina, but greatly boosts her magic. This can be like a lich accessory of some kind. The unicorn helmet can be a basic like undead armor piece. I just realized something. The island is floating on the water. Wouldn't the whole island drift for its place? Nah, you can assume that enough years of sediment buildup have probably locked it. Idea: lots of necromancy mice found in the school. Necromancy mice. Okay. We can actually have... we can have a cameo from Quartus, who is fighting Skaven. That can be a nice quick thing that we do. That'll be easy. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're basically doing all that right now. Okay. What other sorts of stuff? Thinking, the frogs you dissect, imagine that, but necromancy and mice. I actually dissected a mouse instead. Significantly more informative since I was able to compare and contrast mammalian anatomy as opposed to amphibian. Oh, expired Pepsi! Yeah. That's a fantastic one. Okay. So let's put down Necropolis events, a cameo from Quartus. This is Necropolis unique treasures. Okay. We also have to meet Zolter Zeit the zombie. Zolter Zeit the zombie met in the Manufactorum. That should work. Your schools are weird, man. In Turkey, only the school about science do this stuff. It's not at all an uncommon component of basic high school level biology classes to feature a small animal dissection. Typically, there's something that you can opt out of. But it's considered simply to be an opportunity to familiarize with, like, what an actual internal anatomy can look like. Honestly, I don't think it's particularly helpful. But it is an interesting experience. I particularly remember being surprised at how much force it actually took to get the scalpel to cut through even just like just the like the chest of a rat. I mean, skin is easy. Everyone knows how easy it is to cut skin. Hell, we can cut skin with paper, but it's genuinely surprising how much force it takes to cut through, like, especially like the wall of the torso. Even on a mouse, it takes, like, it's not a lot of force. Like, it's not like you have to exert yourself to do it, but it's definitely not knife through butter easy, that's for sure. Let's see. Other types of enemies. Enemy ideas. Weaker flesh puddles. That's certainly an enemy type. New zombie types. Cave beasts. Fungus. Never go to a school that's in an English-speaking country. Let's see. What other concepts? What can we do here? Let's take a look through our lists. Ooh, animated armor. That might work. Mummy. I'm sure I have a mummy enemy somewhere in this list. Ooh. Jar? A jar enemy might work. Oh, yeah. Evil books for library. That's a good enemy design. What else? Yeah. Skip all the actor ones. Oh, chimeras! Chimeras in the flesh dungeon. Hell yes. The eye of the island that has become a zombie. Maybe. Yeah, I could throw out all kinds of just weird chimera enemies in the flesh dungeon. Even stuff like that. Oh, that's such a cool idea. Ooh, fire. Yeah, fire elementals in the Grim Furnace. That's a cool idea. Oh, statues. That might work. What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, spiders? Yeah, spider works for sure. Spiders. I mean, I do have a teddy bear if we want to do a Monokuma. What else? Oh, a phoenix? Fire elementals and a phoenix in the Grim Furnace. That is a cool idea. What else? What else? Oh, zombie dogs. Okay. Okay. Zombie dogs. Interesting. Ally idea, small fire elemental. Small creatures that are the equivalent of the dissected dog from the school, all undead. I really don't have a visual that would work with that. And I am going to have to integrate a new... type of crafting material. Bottle cap ore 2, which is going to run label 6, and ID 96. Okay. Gonna have to come up with all sorts of new stuff here. Alright, but I think that's going to be it for today. I do need a little bit of a break before I go back to, playing Mindustry. Oh, Zombie Dog would definitely be in the school area. He'd be able to be tamed using a dog treat. That's definitely a possibility. One last thing I want to do. Whoops. Here we go. There we go. There. Okay. And mountains. There we go. Okay. And finally shift it back down. Alright, I think we're back into the position it's supposed to be now. No, I need to shift this one more position up. Oh, nope. Up, up. There we go. Okay, much better. Alright, so that's going to be it for today. Thank you all so much for being here. I will see you all on the next one, which, quite frankly, might just be in a half hour when I'm doing Mindustry. And it is time to make the sound to summon the end of the stream. Wow, 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 wow.